This is Unit 3.7, Total Fertility Rate. Total fertility rate is defined as the average number of children a woman produces in a population throughout her life. This picture, which is quite a few people, this is a reality TV family, the Duggars, Jim, Bob, and Michelle, 19 children and 17 grandchildren. So they're definitely pushing up the total fertility rate. So this map shows total fertility rates around the world. US is around 1.8. So on average, a woman is having 1.8 children, right? So it seems like most women are having 2 or more, but there are quite a few people having 0 or 1, which is keeping that number below 2. The world average is 2.4. So if you look at places in the orange, the red, even the purple, right, those are the places where people are having lots and lots of children. Places are more in the blues, fewer children. Niger, 7.2, that's pretty high. South Korea is very, very low, 1.1 children per woman during her lifetime. And that is the lowest fertility rate in the world. So what this graph is showing is really the change from 1950-55, right, which is on the far left, to more current times, like 2015 to 2020. You see that 70 years ago, a lot of these countries had fertility rates like much above 4. Even the US had 3.3 children per woman in the 1950s. And that has dropped considerably. We consider replacement level to be 2.1 children. So a lot of these countries have dropped that number below the replacement level. So how do we define replacement level? So this is a total fertility rate required to offset the average number of deaths in the population to keep the population size stable. So of course, people are dying. They're dying at different ages. So having 2 people of reproductive age having children, you need a little more than 2 children per couple in order to keep the population size stable. In developed countries, replacement level is about actually closer to 2.0, just because of high levels of industrialization and income. That it's very unlikely that those children die before they reach reproductive age. However, in developing countries, 2.2 or even greater is necessary for replacement level. And that's where children tend to die more often before they reach reproductive age. So here's a fun question. Who lives longer, males or females? Well, if you said females, you would be right. So you might want to write down some reasons that you think that females do live longer. You can see on this chart, life expectancy of women is anywhere from 6 years, back in the 80s, 6 years longer than men. Now it's closer to, 4 years longer than men. So why is this? Why do women tend to live longer? So interesting facts about diseases. Men fall ill at a younger age and they have more chronic illnesses than women. Men tend to make more hazardous lifestyle choices, right? Tend to abuse substances more and have more antisocial behavior. Wars can affect, of course, men's life expectancy, since men tend to be in armed forces and women make a smaller percentage of people in armed forces. And then also, more dangerous jobs. Men tend to have those jobs and women tend to not have those jobs. Think like construction work, for example, can be very dangerous, tends to be dominated by men. So you can look at life expectancy at different countries. So low numbers here tend to be more red, um, and then higher numbers tend to be green, where you have places, mostly Africa, where the life expectancy can be like well under 60 years. Um, and then places like the US and Canada, where life expectancy is well above 75, in some cases above 80. If you're wondering about the dark red country in Asia that has such a low life expectancy, that's Afghanistan. These tend to track with infant mortality and child mortality, of course. So these are numbers like per 100,000. So child mortality very high in sub-Saharan Africa, and then also parts of Asia, India, Pakistan, and so forth. So what are the factors that affect life expectancy and these mortality rates? Well, if you have better health care, of course, that increases a country's life expectancy. And of course, prenatal care makes it more likely that the babies survive to birth and then are born as well. There has to be an adequate food supply in order to keep mortality rates low. There has to be drinking water, of course, potable water. And then sanitation to prevent the spread of diseases is important as well. Finally, moderate and low levels of pollution. If pollution is too high, then people become exposed to it. They may generate disease, or it may just be outright toxic to people who are exposed to pollution. If you want to check out cool animated GIFs, you can check out this page at Axios. That is it for total fertility rate, unit 3.7. Please let me know what questions you have.